So you asked me about my journey. So I guess I would put my journey to health and longevity, and it's part of a continuum. But I start off. My twin brother and I, Shelley, both have been very interested in food and diet and exercise. And my brother he's now a retired doctor, but he was an ear, nose, and throat doctor. And he seriously got into yoga and Tai Chi long ahead of me. I was a practicing lawyer for over 60 years and worked in a mid-sized law firm in downtown Los Angeles. I had a serious back operation. I never really was focused in a knowledgeable, consistent way on my health. And so there were people I intersected with over the years that gave me some advice, but I just wasn't systematic about it. When Shelley persuaded me to go to Tai Chi, that was after I had had a back operation. And the back operation put me out of commission for a while. It was a major operation, but successful. But then the question was, do I want to do the same old stuff, or do I want to take a more energetic, active lifestyle and approach to health? The food part of our lifestyle has always been a natural part of me, but with the internet, I'm able to acquire much more quickly reliable information about upping my game. And when it comes to exercise, the same. There's all kinds of research that's going on out there that is useful if you want to help take your health seriously.
So, Manny, can you tell me about some of the foods that I see up there? It looks real interesting.
Okay, sure. So I have here, these are just little regular snack food. I want to give a theme that I mentioned, which I've incorporated fairly recently within, I would say, the last year or less, but focusing on the aspect of health from food by focusing on foods with a high polyphenol content. And that is another way of saying what 60 Minutes talked about some years ago when they had a program that they ran called the French Paradox. How could it be that in France, the French diet, they have a lot of butter, they have rich sauces, they eat all this stuff, they drink a lot of wine, a lot of red wine. How could it be that they outlive Americans? They have less heart attacks, they're healthier with all that kind of stuff. And the answer is they talked to different doctors and people who had studied that, and they said the reason is there's an element in wine, particularly red wine, called resveratrol. And resveratrol was the answer that reduced the rate of heart attacks in French versus Americans. Well, news to my ears that they're very inspiring. Put this stuff in. I embody when I hear positive stuff like that. It's reliable. The internet lets you check out different sources so you can determine how reliable that kind of information is. And so what I've done now, I found another word for resveratrol. It's a form of a polyphenol, and polyphenol is the key. Now it turns out most people never heard of polyphenol. If you asked me a couple of years ago, I never did either. But now I can tell you the highest polyphenol content foods, which I try to focus on as part of my daily diet. And that includes nuts and seeds and berries, and particularly purple fruit, like red grapes are better than green grapes for polyphenols or resveratrol. But that is now easy to check out on the internet for anybody that hasn't heard of these concepts. See all the literature out there for reliable sources. So what do I have? This is a little snacking corner at the beginning of the day. These are mulberries, dried mulberries that were used in Chinese medicine over the years. But these are red and dark and blonde or golden mulberries. And these have more polyphenols. How do I know that? Because they're purple, right? That's the lesson. So now, here's a brand new nut that my twin brother introduced me to. And this is high. Nuts and seeds are also very high in polyphenols. Do you have to guess to see what has the most? No, because somebody did the work for you. Yeah. You can go to the internet and get a list. What are the highest source nuts and seeds with polyphenols? Well, I do that, and regularly I'll check up and just maybe find a new source and some new product. But anyway, this is, and my twin brother is very passionate about all this also, so it's nice to have this mutual inspiration society. But this is called Barukas. I never heard of it before, and it's a very tasty little nut that I recommend.
Delicious.
And
You introduced me to those.
yeah, that's right.
Shelly introduced us to those,
Yeah.
and you can't. The kids love them. And
Well, they're delicious. They're you'd say they're addictive, except that sometimes you can stop.
Yeah, yeah.
But I would say so. These are the here's another.
And what
This is
that?
my latest discovery. So this is a form. This is a roasted chestnut that I get from Amazon, and you can get it in there are different suppliers and brands. I've found this is my favorite currently, but they come in. I just got a delivery this week of 3 cartons of them, and I go through these all the time.
Yeah, and now you got us hooked on those.
Yeah, well, it's good if you have the right friends, you treat them right. You turn them on to stuff that you got to know, because there's not. How do you spread knowledge? You spread it to your friends.
And I'll chime in. A big part of the Century Project is navigating the ravages of time. We know that most diseases are preventable or curable. We know that we make choices every day that can prevent us from living longer. Not only longer, but with good quality of life, right, Manny? And you're displaying a good quality of life.
Mm-hmm.
So in the Century Project, we want to mitigate anything that can hinder your life up to that 100 years. So if your aspiration is to hit that 100-year mark, to live a meaningful life, these are the behaviors one should have to achieve that. It's not just a whim of fate that kills you. There are choices you make every day, and you're making amazing choices. Polyphenols are foods that turn immediately into energetics for the body. They metabolize into the body. They're not stored as fats and sugar. Really simple. So they're an efficient form of renewing the body's metabolism and feeding the energetics of the body. And it's really important for people to know that. And especially as we start to age, we want to have a lower loss factor in terms of developing energy. So it's a bargain. You're always trying to get the bang for your buck, the bang for your energy dollar. Polyphenols has the highest bang for your energy dollar. Is that right, man?
Right, and the beauty is that there's a lot of polyphenols that are available in foods that are delicious. And so, I'm just snacking with these little roast chestnuts. Of all the foods, nuts are very high in polyphenols, and chestnuts are the highest. And I never had these until, I used to have roasted chestnuts in New York. My twin brother and I were born in the Bronx, and I went to law school at NYU. And during the winter, you can buy roasted chestnuts. At least you used to be able to. I don't know if it's safe anymore. But this is a great product that I like, and I don't. I'm sure there are other brands that are comparable, but this is what I've been using. And then I can show you.
Can I just pause?
Sure.
Manny said something there, safe. Because oftentimes the food and the sourcing, the transportation, the growth, the harvesting of the food changes, and you can't trust it, because you really want to avoid a lot of the pesticides, herbicides, a lot of the GMOs and things like that. And the polyphenol is part of a dynamic aspect of the human condition. They're gatherer foods, if you think about it. So it's not just what you put in your body. There are no magic bullets, is what Manny is telling you. There's no magic bullets. It is a dynamic program that he's on. He talked about the consistency of exercise, workout. We talked about the beautiful environment he lives in, a loving family environment, an active life where he's participating in life, and he's reinforcing that with these amazing products and dietary choices that are available to anyone. So then you see that it changes the trajectory of aging. So instead of you having woe about turning 30 or 40 or 50, you're looking forward to being 100 years old. He has a meaningful, active life. He's stronger now than when he was 60 years old. He overcame some health issues. That arm didn't work at one time, and it's fine. You don't even notice it. What I'd like to do now is Manny is going to give you a template, an example of what your refrigerator should look like when you open your refrigerator. Let's do it.
I'll do that, sure. And there's a few heroes of different parts of our lives around here. One of my wife's productions on Broadway, Cat and the Kings, a great musical from South Africa.
A
You can see
reminder
on
of
YouTube.
who you are.
Remind you of who I am and great joy in life. Milton Friedman, who died a couple of years ago, a great free market economist, a great friend, personal friend, and a great educator. Ludwig von Mises is he died in his late 80s. I got to study with him, the Austrian economist, when he was at NYU Law School, and I was the founding director of the Institute for Justice. I am IJ, a free market libertarian litigation firm that helps people who are being oppressed by
And
the
as you see,
government.
Manny is very passionate about living. He has his archetypes, his reminders of who he is. He's alive. He's engaging. He's a part of life. This is very important to have. Remember, we talked earlier about those 5 things. I asked him 5 things that you would want to look at, not only for longevity, but what I call life-evity, the levity of life. What good is it being here 100 years if you're not happy, if you're not enjoying life? What good is it here being living a long time but being in despair? So as soon as he goes to the refrigerator, it's always a refresher course in the I am meditation. Right, man?
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. And let's see, this here is Reason Foundation. I'm a founding editor.
He is the founding editor of the Reason Foundation.
Yeah, well, I would say a founder of the Reason Foundation with Bob Poole and Tibor McCann. And I still serve on the board of the Reason Foundation, and I handle their amicus brief program. We file in major U.S. Supreme Court cases. We join briefs or file our own brief to make a point to have the Supreme Court hopefully rule that in a way that would enlarge freedom rather than constrict it. But that's been a great passion, and I just, after 60 years of practice, I just went on inactive status with the California State Bar in January. So
after 60 years, just went on inactive, but he's still active. Is that right?
But I still am active, but I just can't use the word lawyer anymore. And so now I'm not putting my name on amicus briefs. We just filed another brief. But
okay, let's open that for you.
Yeah, so let's see what lies here.
All these things are important features about longevity and health. It isn't just what you put in your body, it's how you live your body, how your body expresses your life, how you express your life. Let's take a look at this fridge. God, this looks healthy.
Yeah. So it turns out, as I say, my brother Shelley cooks a lot, and he's a good cook. But we like to say we eat out or take out, as with a slight exaggeration. But we have a housekeeper, Melly, and here's an extraordinary soup. Now, I don't know if you can see it here, but
wow, what is that?
This is a vegetable soup that she just made yesterday that she left over.
Look at that.
But
nice, fresh veggie soup.
she really knows how to get top ingredients. And then I've got, because of our lifestyle, I like to keep my nuts. I have a wine cellar downstairs, but that's where I keep my future supplies. My current supplies, I'll have, I don't know, half a dozen, 8 or 10 different nuts every day. So for example, here's some of the nuts, and here's some blueberries on top of that.
So these are his snacks.
And actually, it's a morning routine. It's part of my breakfast. I eat every morning. I go through the half a dozen, 8 different kinds of nuts or more, and that's where they go exactly.
And you know what, Manny? We have a little bit of time. I want to talk about the smoothies you make. You've gotten us all into these smoothies, these polyphenol smoothies. And again, I've been working with Manny for about 20 years. He's healthier now, stronger now than he was 20 years ago.
No question about it.
He's active, he's alert, he can do hundreds of push-ups. We came here, he was sprinting up and down the stairs of his home in beautiful LA. And he has these amazing habits that have not only allowed him to maintain good health, but improve and flourish. Mm-hmm. So tell us about, if we want to make a smoothie, what would be a starter smoothie for the average one of us?
So it's evolved over the years, and I used to use a blender, but these days now I have evolved from the use of a blender, but I'll mention the utility of a blender and bananas. No great smoothie was ever made without a banana. Now, these days, I don't, and because they give texture and substance, they're really healthy, and it's relatively filling. I mean, it's a good way to start the day.
But pause there, because you remember, some of you didn't catch it, Manny's a foodie. He owns a number of restaurants. He's invested in a number of restaurants. Every time you go out with him, it's an unbelievable eating experience. And so whatever he tells you, you need to listen to.
Yeah, I follow your passions and cultivate them, and you can. This is what I was saying before about shopping and buying at Amazon or online. At you can get the kind of nuts that I get. And this is a big morning. My routine. I go through the refrigerator and I eat half a dozen, 8 or 9 different kind of nuts every morning. And so here's pistachios, macadamia nuts. These are figs at the top of this.
Do these all go in your smoothie?
No, I eat them now. Now I'm rather than making the old conventional smoothie in a blender with a banana, I now use this glass, and I put I don't use the blender, and I'm now using different powders. This is one of the powders. This is actually I just finished mine. I'm supposed to get a new delivery from Dawn this morning, but this is a product. There's a woman that formulates these really healthy powders with all kinds of good ingredients, and you just mix it with water or milk.
Convenient than the blender.
It's just easier to do it, and I just got out of the habit when the banana was out of commission.
Or powders and shake them up.
Right, and then the base I put in. I start off by putting water in, and water is very nutritious. So drinking a lot of water a day is good. But in addition to the water, I start with the water, and then I top it off. I just get it dissolved with the water.
With the kefir, huh?
And then I use kefir. This is one of my favorite brands, but there are a lot of really good brands of kefir available.
Is a drinkable yogurt filled with probiotics.
Yeah, and one of my approaches to life is when I know something's good for me, I try to enjoy it. If I don't like it the first time, I don't say, I don't like it. I will try to get, is there a tastier version of it? Is there a richer version? Or something that really tastes good? This
resonates with you.
Yeah, and so I always look forward to have it. And good kefir is a little tart. It's like a liquid yogurt. But I don't get flavor. I get the plain yogurt, because I don't want to have extra sugar, and I don't need it. I love the taste of this. And I go through, I'll order, 8 or 10 quarts of kefir every couple of weeks, and this is really good for your health. Fermented. The idea of having a drinkable yogurt.
Yes.
That's basically what kefir is. So I'm a big fan of that, and then I have of the variety of nuts. I'd say the nuts that I aim for the highest are the two the nuts on a that are highest in polyphenols, and what could those be? Pecans is one, and pistachios is the other, and that would be, let's see.
You really have it together here, Manny. You really have it together. That's okay. That's good.
Yeah, let's see that there.
So you say pecans, pistachios.
Yeah, I have 2 Brazil nuts every day, high in calories but good in nutrients. But I have 2 of these a day. But here the hazel. So hazelnuts and pecans, very high. If you want the biggest bang for the buck and taste delicious, you can't go do better. But you find there's so many nuts out there, and I'll eat a dozen different nuts every morning, just a few. They have a lot of calories, so you don't want to overdo it.
Okay, that's good, Manny. We'll wrap this up, and I wanted to just think about you really leaned out in a healthy way. You don't have a big cortisol band. You don't have the big gut sticking out. None of those kinds of things. And this is a testament to a comprehensive approach to well-being with an eye on 100 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And you've achieved that. You're really an amazing model and example of that. It's been great working with you.
Z has been a teacher, a guide, a coach, a friend, and it takes inspiration and knowledge, and you want to be, I like to say, nothing great was ever achieved without enthusiasm, and that's just part of my personality, but I cultivate it. And Z is in the same mode, and Z is so knowledgeable about all aspects of health and diet and fitness. So he's my buddy. Yeah, really.